Jassim holds a bachelor's degree in electrical engineering from the University of Wisconsin-Madison and a master's in electrical engineering from Cornell University. Today he is here to give a keynote address, and I hope you guys will enjoy his speech.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you very much for having me today. Although the weather was not kind enough, it was freezing, it still is. My name is Jassim Alseddiqi, and I'm the CEO of ADFG, Abu Dhabi Financial Group. I was born and raised in Abu Dhabi. I'm an engineer by background, specifically electrical engineer. I got my bachelor's degree from University of Wisconsin-Madison, and then went on to get a master's in electrical engineering from Cornell University. When I finished my higher education, I started a career as an electrical engineer at the Abu Dhabi gas processing company, Gasco. And then I moved on. Actually, at the same time, I was a lecturer at the Petroleum Institute, which is a higher education institute in Abu Dhabi. And today it's part of the MIT Institute, which my fellow colleague, Dwayne, is from. After a short stint as an engineer, somehow I found myself in an investment firm, which invests in various asset classes: public equities, real estate, private equity, debt, and so forth. I joined as a senior analyst and ended up being the CEO of that firm. And in January 2011, I found ADFG. In the past 7 years, ADFG has seen staggering growth for an alternative investment firm out of the Middle East. We started the firm at the same time the so-called Arab Spring started, which can tell you how difficult the situation was. Nevertheless, our assets under management grew from nothing till more than $6 billion today. And we have achieved more than 20% IRR across all our investments in the past 7 years or since inception. Our investment geography and sector is agnostic. We're agnostic to geography and sector, which enables us to be nimble and ready to take advantage of investment opportunities as and when we see them. We deliver strong returns across our 4 distinct business lines. Essentially, this makes us a one-stop shop for a range of services that are usually only offered by the largest institutional banks like Goldman Sachs. It's all about having the right vision and defined goals in mind. We wanted and still want to build something for the long term. A world-class organization, a sustainable institute. We apply the right principles and take an active approach in following up and continuously adding value in whatever we do. Everyone who has joined our team believes in these principles and works and lives by them. And I have a few of my colleagues here actually today. By now, you may be wondering, what does this have to do with the Science and Technology Conference? By the way, the majority of our core investment and finance team is made up of engineers and scientists. We have physicists, computer scientists, mechanical engineers, and computer engineers. As you well know, engineers and scientists tend to apply certain procedures, methodologies, and a different way of thinking and problem solving, often resorting to mathematics and scenario simulations. Although we've had a great 7-year in ADFG, investing in conventional asset classes, conventional sectors, I realized that this is not sustainable for an exponential growth. So my roots in engineering came back to me, and we've decided that technology is what will make this firm grow exponentially. So we had to invest and create a technology platform, and this is what we did in the past few years. Before telling you more about ADFG and technology, let me take a step back and talk about a more macro perspective on the importance of technology in general. As suggested by this conference theme, Reshaping the Arab World Through Technology, the rapid advancement of technology is changing the world. Globalization is one of the outcomes. Towards the end of World War II, 44 countries gathered together to build a new foundation, a new world order, that they hoped would prevent another world financial crisis, like the Great Depression, which essentially led to the war. Out of this meeting, the World Bank and the IMF were created to prevent economic crises and to help rebuild economies shattered by war, and also to lay new foundations for growth and international trade. Billions of people around the world were lifted out of poverty, with welfare and living standards rising dramatically. Despite the post-2007 recession, the world economy has more than doubled between the years 1990 and 2017, its biggest expansion in history. Although increased international trade has spurred tremendous economic growth, raising incomes, creating jobs, reducing prices, and increasing workers' earnings powers, trade can also bring about economic, political, and social disruption. The last couple of years have witnessed many unpredictable events in every corner of the globe. Politics often dominated the news, most prominently Brexit and the recent Trump's presidency increase of polarization in economic policy and trade wars, which is basically a reverse of globalization that has started after World War II. In many ways, we have seen the old world order dissolving and a new one come in huge disruptive power, led by the $3 trillion industry, which is the technology sector. The rapid advancement of the technology sector has been a huge contributing factor to globalization. It is indeed the real globalization. Technology today is what's removing borders all around us, despite certain areas in the world where the reverse of globalization is taking place. In my lifetime, we have gone essentially from no internet to today perhaps 4 billion internet users, whether through smartphones, or in Asia it would have been Android. But anyway, so 4 billion people today use smart devices connected to the internet. I remember in 2012, I was at Singularity University, and the number was around 2.5 billion. So I remember when the number was almost half of the number today. And by 2022, the number of people connected to the internet is going to be 5.5 billion. imagine in the next 5 years or 4 years, 1.5 billion more people are going to be connected to the internet that were not there before. This is truly globalization. It's not what we have been seeing in the past 50 years. Companies of any size, based in any location, are able to roll out and export products and services globally at a faster pace and without limitations. Again, this is technology-led rather than policies or directions, political directions. Halfway around the world right now, people could be watching us, could be watching this presentation live. And by the way, I don't know if you've noticed, but this is a live broadcast that's happening, and I'm going to talk about this. This is one of our products that we've developed at the ADFG technology platform. So, although we are maybe 12 hours away from home, people in the UAE can see us live today, and with a delay of less than 1 second. Again, this is a technology that we've created, and we're going to talk about that. Technology giants also are not limited to the United States. As you know, Apple, Google, Facebook, Amazon, they all have market caps of more than $500 billion. But let's not forget, there are Chinese behemoths which also have market caps of more than $500 billion, like Tencent and Alibaba. It's important to keep in mind that technology is more than a driver of globalization and a connector to all of us. It will ultimately be the contributor to the advancement of humanity. This creates great responsibility for technology companies or those who are involved in the technology field, whether academics or investors or practitioners. China's government plans to allocate more resources towards the implementation of big data analysis and digitalization, part of a $150 billion strategy to become the global innovation hub for artificial intelligence by 2030. So what we are noticing is that technology is no longer a monopoly in certain regions. Whether we are in the East or whether we are in the West, technology is really agnostic. Now let me take a step back and elaborate on how our technology initiatives resemble this theory of technology globalization. For many years, and even more so in the past 50 years, the West has been exporting education to the East. Many have been sending their children to schools in the West, like many of you, especially for higher education. Or Western-style schools have been very popular in the East, even in China. In fact, the US remains the leading receiver of international students. Now imagine if we reverse the trend and have the East export education to the West. What would you think about that? Let me tell you a little bit about Alif Education. Alif Education is an education technology company that we started a few years ago. Actually, the brainchild of Alif Education sits right here with us. You can connect with him later on. Alif is one of our proudest achievements. It solves education's biggest problems, which mainly are the lack of quality teachers, which is a huge bottleneck, the lack of time, making it impossible for teachers to tailor instructions for each student, And of course, the absurdity students feel every day going to a classroom and missing their iPads or Android tablets and expect to listen to teachers without animation. We kept it simple. We focused our technology to solve for these problems. ALIF Education provides real data analytics. It uses hypermedia content that gets students motivated in the classroom, as they are the coolest that we have been seen. In fact, we have hired an Emmy Award photographer to take videos and photos for the content we use in the ALIF platform. And last but not least, AI-enabled personalized learning for each student. With these changes, ALIF has achieved meaningful educational gains. We have started ALIF education last year in a public school in Abu Dhabi, and in a very short period of time we have seen magnificent results. 30% improvement in scores in 3 months in math and science. Now, it's important to note that this system is not a supplementary system. ALIF education is a primary educational technology. So when students go into a classroom, they immediately start using this system. It's not a supplementary or after school platform. So after successful implementation in Abu Dhabi, with more than 1,000 students using the ALIF platform in a single school, a few days ago we've signed to implement the ALIF system in 2 schools in New York City, starting October 2018. And hopefully we will be implementing the system on many more countries and jurisdictions in the short years to come. I would say this is the first foray of an education solution or system from a Middle Eastern country to a Western country. Moving on to a different subject, perhaps more exciting than education, unfortunately, media. So, media is everywhere, and in media, we're living in a world of content. Content is king. Let me tell you about SWOO, a live video streaming app connecting people and communities with shared passions. We started SWOO more than a year ago, but we launched it to the public back in August 2017. In a span of 8 months, SWOO has had more than 4.3 million downloads. In fact, every 2 seconds, there's a download of SWOO that happens. So, I think my speech is 30 minutes, so you can calculate how many people have downloaded SWOO in those 30 minutes. What is more impressive about SWOO is that in a short period of time, this application, this social media application, has been ranked as the #1 and top 5 in many Middle Eastern countries. So for example, in Lebanon, SWOO ranks #1 compared to the other social media apps. And the other social media apps are Facebook, Snapchat, Twitter, and so forth. In a larger country like Egypt, SWOO ranks #4. Of course, #1 is Facebook. But for an Emirati company like SWOO, for a technology from the UAE to be in the same league as the American social media giants is a great achievement in a short period of time. And more importantly, if we look at India, we have managed to be in the top 13 apps in social media. And India is one of the most important countries in technology and social media, and the population of India, as you know, is more than 1.2 billion people. This is the beauty of technology. This is truly how borders are removed and how whatever the ambitions are, they are limitless. Last but not least, I'll take a few minutes just quickly to introduce our artificial intelligence platform. SAL is a unique artificial intelligence platform. It is focused on applied solutions, B2B or B2C, in artificial intelligence. At the moment, we are working on a partnership with ADFG to roll out a learning assistant for students to be a knowledge partner, fostering curiosity and engagement. This is a tool that will be given to students for after their primary time at school every day. We are also working on rolling out an intelligent health partner that will disrupt the current traditional healthcare models. SAL Health is the perfect companion that will allow users to track their activity, starting from home to office, to restaurants, and to the gym, and also their hospital visits. In conclusion, I would like to leave you with a few thoughts. The first thought is that we will disrupt at every chance we get. The second, we have a rule that's called the 1B rule. In everything we do, it has to abide by this rule. And basically this rule has two elements: the potential of impacting 1 billion lives, and importantly also the potential to make more than $1 billion in that initiative. So how do we do that? We believe with the technology platform that we have created over the past years, this is doable as we are seeing the fruits of our labor. This is our technology platform, which a big part of it is organically built from Abu Dhabi, and part of it is a recent acquisition that I will briefly mention. Algorithma is a technology company that builds groundbreaking technology products that have the potential to disrupt industries. So ADFG, SU, SAL, and so forth are all the result of incubation and support of Algorithma. And we have today Dr. Saleh Al-Hashmi, the CEO of Algorithma, with us, and I believe he's going to be on a panel soon also. Crypto Labs is a global incubator based out of Abu Dhabi. It has a unique ecosystem for funding groundbreaking early stage startups. It's a combination of a virtual program, an investment platform, and an inspiring co-working space that enables startups from anywhere in the world to innovate and develop revolutionary products and services across any industry. Basically, it's our net to get all the great ideas. 500 startups. We have recently bought a strategic stake in 500 startups. 500 startups is one of the leading VC platforms in the world. It has been the most it's one of the most active in 2017. It is compared to Techstars, Y Combinator, and so forth, and Accel Partners, Sequoia, etc., etc. 500 startups is in every continent except Antarctica. We believe this is an excellent addition to our technology platform. Last but not least, ADFG Tech. Basically, this is our vehicle that invests in mature technology initiatives, whether it's Hyperloop or whether it's Facebook or Twitter, pre the IPO, etc., etc. My mentor would always give us ideas and push us to explore and try them. It all starts with an idea and the courage to take those ideas forward and not give up. The important thing here is that in technology, you don't know if you need something until you have it. Thank you very much, everyone. Have a good day.